السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله الله إلى كافة للناس بشيرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه العزيز أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. All praises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him as He ought to be praised, seeking His help and seeking His forgiveness. And we send our salutations and peace and blessings on His beloved Messenger Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 153, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah, inna Allaha ma'as sabirin. O you who believe, seek help, patience, perseverance and prayer. And Allah is with those who persevere. My dear brothers and sisters, perhaps there is not a single one of us present here today that have not been tested by Allah. And tests is of different kinds. When, for example, when someone accepts the deen, accepts Islam, that person may go through extraordinary test. And then you have the test of those who are already Muslims, the normal routine in life, they go through difficulties and problems as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala laid down a principle in the Quran that those who remain steadfast, those who establish patience in the pursuit of being tortured, in the pursuit of being criticized and condemned, and being punished, and are steadfast, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He will elevate them. And I'm quite sure during the course of our lives, we will experience something like that. We will experience some sort of elevation coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we endure the difficulties of life and we put our trust and patience in trust and hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today I want to speak about such a Sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has elevated. Elevated because of his steadfastness, because of his perseverance, because of his trust in Allah. And he endured within himself the difficulties and the trials and the punishment only for the sake of truth, only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevated him to the heights. And this could be a moral consolation for all of us, that no matter what we go through in life, how difficult it may be, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is there for us, and no one else. In the world today, statistically, there are about 1.8 billion Muslims in the world today. And you may find that in every corner of the globe there is a Muslim. So the world knows about us. We are no strangers to the outside world. They know about us, they know about our faith, they know about our attitudes, they know about our principles. And it is very easy for one to become a Muslim now, in these times, rather in the early times of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was more difficult then. And for a person to come, speaking about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to proclaim a belief in the one God, which was very alien in his time, for such a person to come and make that claim was a very astonishing claim to me. So much so that those who have accepted that call, those who have accepted that call in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there has to be some sort of not ordinary people, in the sense of accepting a call to believe in the oneness of God, when in that time, especially in Makkah, 360 idols prevailed. So to accept that call of the oneness of Allah is a brave acceptance, very brave acceptance. It calls for people with stamina and bravery to accept such a principle of the oneness of God in a time when there was polluted with idol worshiping. You had to have some clear vision. And among those who accepted the call, and among those who was a visionary, was the person by the name of Bilal ibn Rabah. Bilal ibn Rabah. And a slave, not a Meccan slave, but he was from Ethiopia. So he had additional problems with him, in the sense of he was not a Meccan, he was not an Arab, he was from another country. And here he was now enslaved in Makkah. He was foreign, his language was foreign, and now to add all of that, he accepted a faith that Allah put Islam into his heart and he accepted a faith which is different from the faith of his master. So you can imagine his situation. Bilal ibn Rabah, radiyallahu anhu. This slave, and we need to identify the meaning of being a slave, who is a slave and who is a servant. When you are a servant, you are more free. If you don't like something here, you could go somewhere else. If you don't like this, you could like something else. You are free to move about. But as a slave, it is not so. You are a slave of your master. Whatever you have, whatever you own, even your own family, is a slave to that master. And Bilal finds himself in this situation. And the greatest ambition of a slave, that is why you will understand what it is to be a slave of Allah. You will know what it is to be a slave of Allah. You cannot do anything else but to obey Allah. That is what it is to mean to be a slave of Allah. And when you are a slave of a master, that master owns you. You are not free. You cannot do what you want. And this was the situation with Bilal. And the greatest ambition of a slave is to get freedom. Slaves don't want millions of dollars, they don't want anything. They hope the day will come when they will be, taken out of these shackles. To be free, this is the greatest aspiration of a slave. Bilal, in this condition, Allah put Islam into his heart. Allah gave him guidance. And when Bilal accepted that Islam, that guidance, he immediately was disliked by his master. And he was put to the worst of trials and tribulations and tests. And Bilal radiallahu remained steadfast. And this is a great lesson for us today that perhaps will live with us for the rest of our lives. As I mentioned, when you are steadfast in the path of Allah, when you bear suffering for Allah and His deen, Allah have no other alternation but to elevate you. And I want to take you through the life of Bilal in a very short time to understand and to see how Allah elevated him. When it was known that he is now a Muslim. Remember, he is a Muslim of a slave, of a master who is not a Muslim. And that added injury to insult. He was then immediately being taunted, pressurized, tortured, punished, however you want to call it. And Bilal stood firm, never gave up that belief in the oneness of Allah. And Allah promised that when you are steadfast in my path, I will elevate you. And as I said, the greatest ambition of a slave is to be freed. And guess what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala immediately sent Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Go to Bilal, purchase him, and set him free. So the very first ambition or the greatest ambition of a slave is to be set free. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fulfilled that obligation, elevated it. Bilal radiallahu anhu is now a freed man. But look, his emancipation did not come from no ordinary people or person. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have sent anybody, he could have even sent one of the disbelievers to free Bilal. But Allah chose somebody special. And by consensus it is said that Abu Bakr is the greatest of creation after the prophets. After the prophets. So look at the honor Allah is putting to Bilal. Allah sent Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu to free Bilal. Now Bilal is a free person. Look at the elevation. Yesterday, he was under the rocks and beaten with a whip, tortured and persecuted. Today, he is sitting on the mat with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yesterday, look what was his condition. Today, he is in the company of the most and the greatest of creation, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, if you are a person of some status, for example, if you are a prime minister and another prime minister of a country is coming to your country, then you will go to the airport and meet that prime minister. If you are a president and a president coming from another country, you as a president will go to the airport and meet that person. That indicates the status that you have. And look at it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the greatest of creation after the prophets to free Bilal. My dear brothers and sisters, after Bilal was being freed, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is now in the company of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when they were making the migration from Makkah to Medina, of all the people, Rasulullah sallallahu chose Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu to be his treasurer. Honored. Allah elevates your status. Think about that all the time. I'm taking you through the little life of Bilal radiallahu ta'ala. How Allah elevated him at every step of his life. When they reached, after some time in Medina, they have Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam built a masjid. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose Bilal to be the first caller of that prayer. Look at the honor Allah is giving him for his steadfastness, for his stamina to withstand this torture for the sake of Allah, for the sake of truth. And you know, Allah gave Bilal that unique opportunity of being the one to call the azan, the call to pray. And today there are millions and millions of masjids across the globe. Here is one right now. You are in a masjid right now. You heard the azan call today. You heard the azan call today. And the beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, those who do a righteous action, they will have the reward for that action that they did, that individual. And those who continue that action after him, he will also get that reward. You know what I mean? Bilal is already established with that, you know, that gift by Allah. And all those who follow, and by calling the azan, every time this azan has been called throughout the world, Bilal, even though he is dead, his account is still open. And every time that azan has been called, Bilal gets the reward and blessings. Look at the honor Allah gave to this city. But it did not stop there. It did not stop there. At the conquest of Makkah, when Makkah was taken by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, again, Bilal was the person whom Rasulullah chose, not only to go inside of the Kaaba, but to go on top. Go on top of the Kaaba and call the azan. When you go through difficulties in life, for the sake of Allah, for the sake of this deen, for the sake of this religion, Allah promised He will do nothing else but elevate you. And that is for all of us here. All of us. And again, that did not stop there. After the conquest of Makkah, as time went on, Rasulullah said to Bilal, "O Bilal, I heard your footsteps in Jannah." Look at where he was, a slave. Slave. And Allah honored him and freed him. And look how Allah is elevating him. "O Bilal, I heard your footsteps in Jannah." He already experiencing the good of this life. Now he's not being told about where you will be in the life hereafter. And as time went on again, the beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. When the beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, Bilal couldn't stay in Medina. He couldn't bear that. He couldn't stay in Medina. He went out somewhere in Syria, married, settled down. And after some time, Bilal became of age. And he is sick on his deathbed. On his deathbed, his wife is next to him. She is grieving. She is sad. She is worried. Her husband is about to die. Soon she will be a widow. The companion of the beloved Messenger ﷺ is about to die. And she's saying this, and she's saddened, and she's saying how sad she is. And in his final moments, Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu opened his eyes. And he said to her, "This is not a sad moment. This is not a sad moment. Don't be sad. After I pass this hurdle today, after I get over this today, tomorrow I will be in the company of the beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I will be in the company of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and with his companions." Brothers and sisters, I don't know if you all pick up the lesson in between of what I am saying. But Islam is the way of life Allah gave us. And you know what? In those days with Bilal, he was looked down as a very low person. The Arabs, the leaders of Quraysh, they consider themselves very high. They do not want to sit with him, talk with him. But guess what? Today, Allah has honored him to such an extent that all the kings of Arabia, and in other Islamic states as well, whenever they call the name of Bilal, they will say, "Radiyallahu ta'ala," even up to today. And even when we call his name, this is the honor and respect we owe to these people. So, as Muslims, don't give up. Don't give up. Allah has promised us that He will elevate us. And I'm quite sure, as I said, some of you might have experienced that in this life. I might have passed through some of those things and trials and tests. And I feel Allah has elevated me. So this way of life belongs to Allah. When you stick the test and the trials and the tortures and the punishment, don't give up. Allah will elevate you. Allah promised that in the Quran. May Allah make all of us among those who have been elevated in His deen, because of His deen. May Allah make all of us strive in the way as the Sahaba strive in the path of Islam. And may Allah grant all of us what He granted the Sahabas and the messengers, that place in Jannatul Firdaus, inshallah. May Allah bless us all and forgive us and outways them. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله ولكم وإتاي ذنبي أستغفره إنه غفور رحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد بعدد من صلى وصام اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد بعدد من قعد وقام وصل على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى كل ملائكة المقربين وعلى عباد الله الصالحين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم اللهم ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون ولذكر الله تعالى أعلى وأولى وأجل وأجل وأتم وأهم وأكبر قيموا الصلاة